So let's just say there's a company that's worth $155 million as of last April of 2020. Regular company, not a company you think about a lot. Their stock is worth roughly $2.57. Think about if that $155 million company 9 months later is worth not a billion, not 5 billion, not 10 million, $29 billion, 188 times more than what it was worth 9 months later, simply because a Reddit group users called Wall Street Bets decided to take on the big Wall Street hedge fund managers, go to war because these guys decided to short sell GameStop. They said it's not going to happen. We want to expose you. And these guys ended up costing them billions and billions of dollars just in the last few weeks. So we're talking about the company called GameStop. Now, this last week has been a very, very rough week for Wall Street.
But some of you at home may be familiar with this saga known as GameStop. Well, that's the David and Goliath share trading story, where a mob of small punters took on the multi-billion-dollar hedge funds, and they actually won. The hedge fund losses were in the billions of dollars, and some of the small punters actually made life-changing fortunes for themselves.
Okay, back to the sticks. So what do we got? GameStop. Let's go back to watch list. Whoa, 28%! Yeah, look at that.
It worked like this. The hedge funds were selling shares that they didn't own in the expectation they'd be able to drive the prices down and buy them back at a lower price and make a lot of money. It's pretty business as normal for many of these funds. But then millions of punters from an online forum decided that they'd buy small amounts of these shares, $5,000, $10,000 worth of these shares, and that pushed the price up. And it sent the hedge funds into margin calls. That meant they had to close their trades by buying the shares, driving prices ever higher. It's this classic feedback loop.
So I don't think this is actually happening. I don't know what's going on here with Webull. I don't know if it's bugging out or what, but I just put in a limit order at 195, and it's not actually triggering a purchase there. You can see it over here and working, right? So, glitching back to closing price. Someone is clicking sell on it. Scare tactics. It's everywhere. Did your order go through? The order has not gone through at 195. Here, I'll move it up a little bit. I'll put the order at 205, okay? Here, 205.26. No, it's not going through. It's not going through. I think I would have to be at about 256 right now. I think we're at the top of this candle. But this is very weird. But yeah, that order is not executing right now. Yahoo says 262. It's not real. Yeah, I think this is silliness, whatever's happening here.
And it's not over yet. I'll fess up and tell you I was part of it. Initially, I was on the side of David. I got out, and now I'm waiting to join the Goliaths because these share prices are eventually going to come down. Unfortunately, I can't. Almost all brokers have stopped the smaller trader from shorting shares. And in the case of Robinhood, this is the free US share brokerage that most of the forum punters were using, they stopped accepting any trades in the stock whatsoever, including from their own clients. And that left them stranded. And the only purpose that I can see was to save the hedge funds from a total wipeout.
Robinhood to allow limit buying of some securities tomorrow. Okay, good. That's good. GameStop's plunge wipes out 11 billion. Okay, GameStop shares climbed 20% in extended trading. We just saw that. Yeah, let's see here. GameStop triggered 19 trading halts in wild session. Wow.
It was effectively a case of Robinhood taking from the poor and giving to the rich.
That's crazy. GameStop effect could ripple further as Wall Street eyes short squeeze candidates. Yeah, good.
What I'm concerned about is that this is a pump and dump scheme that effectively is being cloaked, as Mother Teresa has arrived on the scene. I think there are real underlying issues with the system that need to be resolved. I do not want to protect the system. I love watching the little guy beat the big guy as much as anybody. But what I wonder is whether these folks trying to, quote unquote, stick it to the man are ultimately going to be sticking it to themselves.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Come on. Run, baby, run. Run, run, run. Yes, 15%, go. Yes, look at that. Now recovering recovering the entire drop we just had here, has been recovered. The diamond hands take over. Look at that money. Yes.
Over on CNBC, home of the professional short seller, the ones who tell you to sell when they profit from it, they haven't started yet yelling about the scourge of white supremacy on Reddit, though obviously that's coming. It's inevitable.
Do not get involved in these silly parts of the market. That's all.
Whoa.
We need to educate people. They're going to do what they're going to do. But whoever would listen to me the last
Look
few
at the
days.
order book, though. Look at those sales going through at 193. Am I losing my mind? Look at all those single sales going in at 193 over here. 193. I don't know. Is that a bug? Because those are after hour times. There are a ton of purchases going through at 193.60. Gotta get the unlimited drinks wristband.
This is not about some sort of overthrow of the Wall Street system or anything like that. This is just greed. That's all it is. And
Look at that. Now up 20%. Oh, look at that push. Oh, man. Oh, yes. Nice. Nice. Let's see. AMC. AMC struggling, but AMC could follow. AMC tends to follow.
Public. So the SEC does have the authority to suspend trading if it thinks that the market is being manipulated. The unfortunate thing about that is then it almost guarantees that people holding that GameStop stock would lose money.
GameStop up again, now trending up again. We're at 36%. We are consistently moving up here. 265. We're out of the 250s now.
Gothics, rhetorical question. Don't Wall Street and DC seem to have a lot in common these days? That is a very rhetorical question. You are correct. I'm gonna go microwave the rest of my coffee. Give me 1 second.
Is it up more right now? Let's see. 21%. Come on. There you go. There we go. Much better. Xpeng moving. Express recovering a little bit after their big fall here.
But that's something that the SEC could certainly do, and they could sort of suspend trading and sort things out and find out who's saying what, whether there's a correlation to trading.
That would be bad. If the SEC paused trading for like a week, people will panic.
This is just a stock that people are really excited about.
Do you think there has been market manipulation here?
I would say on its face, certainly if it was that obvious, the SEC would have acted.
Right.
It brings up a really interesting question about who has the responsibility to monitor and regulate these platforms. You know, is it the sponsor of the platform? Which, you know, certainly there has been some concerted effort by some of the trading entities to stop buy orders, but whether the SEC has the responsibility to go in and just monitor and regulate these conversations and in what way is not very clear under these circumstances. But it seems to me on the reporting that I've read that there are certainly very valid questions about market manipulation. And it's probably a mix of
the other question.
Participants, right?
Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off. Yeah, I was just gonna say, it doesn't what make this harder that it's all happening on social media? I mean, how do you define market manipulation when you're talking about the internet and social media and blogs?
Well, if people actually are saying, let's all buy 1,000 shares now to drive up the price, I would say that sounds like market manipulation to me. Whether they're really doing it, who's the person that's saying?
I don't think people are saying that. I think people are saying, I want to buy it because we're going to make money. You know, I don't think they're saying, let's buy it to manipulate the price. So the way she worded that, I disagree with.
And this happens. It really puts a lot of question about the integrity of the market, right? And it really kind of, everybody's scratching their heads over this. What should happen? What is the right thing to do to...
The right thing to do is not to make us stop trading on stocks we want to trade. That's the right thing to do. F off and let the market do its thing.
Things go a little crazy. And that's kind of feels like what's happening with this. Much different, much lesser degree. It's financial harm, not personal bodily harm. But certainly that's the same kind of platform created frenzy that people are operating under, and these are very trying times. So I think people aren't really in
they're
their
also
right
very
minds,
transitional.
right? Yes.
Yeah, we don't have a full SEC.
No,
chair.
exactly, and this is something that requires a full policy solution, right? The same way that some of the social media platforms took down the former president's Twitter account, and Facebook is having an external advisory board review the content. It could be something that requires a broader solution and approach and a real policy mandate. And with no chairman, real chairman confirmed by the Senate and appointed by the current president, it's kind of hard for these existing commissioners to make that leap under these circumstances.
Hi, Kevin. It's been a tough day. We are grateful to you for being a Robinhood customer. Make sure to use that link down below to get 4 free stocks with Robinhood if you also want to be a Robinhood customer. In light of extraordinary market conditions this week, we temporarily limited buying for certain securities this morning. Starting tomorrow, we plan to allow limited buy. So plan to allow means we're not sure yet, but maybe we will. We'll continue to monitor the situation and may make adjustments as needed. Okay, this was a temporary. All right, so at least they're addressing this now. This was a temporary decision made to best continue serving you, and was not an easy one to make. Yeah, no kidding, because you knew people were about to freak the hell out. We know it led to frustration, yes, and confusion, yes, and wanted to provide some clarity. Okay, that's fair. I'll take some clarity from Robinhood. As a brokerage firm, we have many financial requirements, including SEC net capital obligations and clearinghouse deposits. So some of these requirements fluctuate based on volatility in markets and can be substantial in the current environment. These requirements exist to protect investors and markets, and we take our responsibilities to comply with them seriously, including the measure we have taken today. To be clear, the decision was not made on the direction of any market maker we route to or any other participants. Whoa! Okay, so they are not blaming Apex. They are not.
They're against hate and systemic racism. They're for science, and they want you to know that. Here's an ad from Robinhood that ran just last month.
Remember when greed was good? When you had to look the part? When you had to pay for a seat at the table? We set out to change it, the way the system works, to put the power in everyone's hands, to make it feel, speak, sound, and look just like you. We all invest every day in ourselves, our communities, our future. We are all investors.
It's so fun to watch that stuff after the fact. That ran a month ago. We set out to change the way the system works, says Robinhood. Well, that's for sure. In fact, that's literally true. Robinhood changed the system at precisely the moment when people from outside the system started benefiting from the system. Sorry, proles, no trading for you. We're locking your account. Other platforms took effectively the same position but felt the need to pretend a little more than Robinhood did. They justified changing the rules by attacking the very people they were hurting by changing the rules.
But saving people from themselves and bringing in more regulation against people who actually feel like the system is rigged against them is part of the foment here. And we all know in some ways how this is transcendent, not just to what's going on Wall Street, but this has been an issue with populism. This has been an issue. I mean, who is the arbiter of truth? Remember that issue from social media? Who's the arbiter of what you should and should not, what risk you should not take with your money on the internet? And I think that's why this is such a powerful issue and why people are very upset.
Yeah, and Dan, you were making that point on our call midday today that it's corporate America, it's these big tech companies, tech-focused companies that are making that decision as to which groups have their voice heard, and that voice may be through a tweet or through a Facebook post or through a trade, and which ones cannot.
Yeah, it feels like a very similar conversation that we were having much of 2020 about these large tech platforms, the power that they wield. Obviously, this is just another example that regulation is coming to these digital worlds right now. And,
it is a high-tech lynching.
This seems like a betrayal of the basic promise of American public markets, which is they're transparent. It's purely meritocratic. That's why you've been able to make dough during quarantine. You make a bet, you're right, you win. how amazing is it to discover that that's not real?
Apparently it's real for them. And I love the lectures. You hear it from the hedge funds and the suits, as I call them, but they'll say they're protecting you and we're protecting you versus yourself, and people don't understand the risk and margin. And then you look at them, it's like, buddy, look in the mirror. You're doing the same thing. The hedge funds are betting against companies. We're betting on them. With money and margin, we're doing the same thing. The only difference is we're winning and you're getting your teeth kicked in, and you just said, time out.
The communication service Discord, for example, banned users from the Wall Street Bets group from using its platform. Why'd they do that? It wasn't at all because the Reddit guys were beating the hedge fund guys at their own grubby game, and that's not allowed. No, it had nothing to do with that, of course. No, instead, they were banned, according to Discord, because the Reddit guys had engaged in, quote, hate speech. Of course. The Reddit guys were racists. That's why they humiliated the hedge funds. Only a racist would do that. You can laugh if you want, but keep in mind, this is a time-tested tactic. It works. That's why they do it. Remember back, if you can, to the Occupy Wall Street protests of more than a decade ago. The 2008 crash wrecked an awful lot of families in this country. Many have not recovered even now. People were angry about that, and many blamed Wall Street, and they said so. But rather than address their grievances, some of them legitimate, Wall Street and its countless puppets in the media just changed the subject. So it was right about this point that we started hearing an awful lot about identity politics. We can prove that. In 2011, when the Occupy movement was at its peak, mentions of the word racism in the New York Times, the Washington Post, and the Los Angeles Times skyrocketed. In the case of the Washington Post, which is America's most committed defender of entrenched power, literally owned now by the richest man in the world, mentions of racism nearly tripled at the height of Occupy Wall Street. Oh, and of course it worked. They changed the subject. They're doing that again. They always do that. Always.
Hit their asses in the pocketbook.
Okay. All right. Dear Acting Attorney General, who is this from? This is from Paul Gosar, member of Congress. Okay. So here's the representative in Congress. Dear Acting Attorney General. Okay. Sorry. Make sure everything's okay. I'm greatly troubled by the events that have unfolded on Wall Street, oh dear, and demand action from the U.S. Department of Justice. Today, a FINRA-regulated broker-dealer called Robinhood Markets, Inc. halted the purchase of stocks for several publicly traded companies, including BlackBerry, GameStop, and AMC, and others. This unilateral move was done in a concerted effort to deplatform and silence individual investors. Ooh, to deplatform and silence individual investors. Ooh. That's a big statement there.
Also down in Washington, we're getting word that the House is going to hold a hearing on short selling. This is the House Financial Services Committee. We already learned earlier in the day, Caroline, that the Senate also planning hearings of its own.
Robinhood insider information. I work for Robinhood. Don't kill me. Low-level technical shit, comp science major, not finance side. Guess what we overheard today? Vladimir, yes, Vladimir, founder Vladimir, and the C-suite received calls from Sequoia Capital and the White House. What? That pressured into closing trading on GME. I guarantee you the same took place at E-Trade and others who closed trading. File reports on the SEC page. If I wasn't scared to be out of work in a pandemic, I'd quit. I'm disgusted. So we don't know this, okay? We don't know if this is legit. We don't know if this person actually works at Robinhood. But Sequoia Capital, let's try to link this up. Sequoia Robinhood. Let's see what the link is, or what the combination here is. Ah, look at this. Robinhood raises $280 million in Series F funding led by Sequoia Capital. Interesting. Okay. We all need to rise up. This is as bad as it gets when we talk about how the rich get one set of rules and the rest of us get screwed over and over and over again, left to bail them out, and we pick up the tab for trillion-dollar tax breaks. We need to pile pressure on every government and financial institution involved in the travesty of justice. I'm taking a massive career risk even posting here, but F these.
They have a massive PR problem right now because, if we know that, let's say they signed up 5 million new accounts or something like that in 2020, and we know that a lot of them are going to be very annoyed with what happened right here, they're not likely to stick around on this platform. So there's a lot of things going on right now. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, this has become a very popular, free online trading app on your iPhone. That's that simple. We had the same conversation 3 years ago about Coinbase. It was nothing different. And I'm not telling you there's not some geniuses on Reddit, Wall Street Bets, and trading on Robinhood and making a lot of smart decisions about investing. But this is not about planning for your future. This is not about some sort of overthrow of the Wall Street system or anything like that. This is just greed. That's all it is. And so I'm not demeaning anybody who's made money doing it this way, but let's call it what it is.
And still these rappers wanna sneak this all over my Facebook, always trying to tweet. I ain't gonna keep this a secret, my marketing genius. The algorithm triggered by exploiting your weakness. And y'all can call me clickbait and gimmicks, I call me rich. 1 million monthly listens on Spotify, I'm about to drop a couple $1 million on a crib, $250,000 on a whip. I just sent my mom a grip. And first of all, I heard it all. I could write a perfect song. I Googled the net worth of middle finger from a private jet.
The internet's very loud if you're listening to the wrong channel, I guess.
I've never been more convinced about market manipulation and the people, the hedge funds, controlling the game than today. I mean, just to wake up and say, hey, you can't trade these stocks anymore. You can only sell them. We're going to intentionally crash the market in these stocks. And everyone who has it, tough, you're going to lose a ton of money, but we're going to save the rich people and the hedge funds. When you have AOC and Donald Trump Jr. both on the same side of an issue, you know something's dramatically wrong.
The government puts in all these rules and regulations, supposedly to protect the little guy. Now it's so expensive to work with a little guy that no legitimate professional will.
I just read a piece about 15 minutes ago that said, and it seemed right, that Robinhood's real customer is not retail investors like you. Its real customer is the hedge funds. They sell data on trades to the hedge funds, which use it to their advantage. Assuming that's true, did you know that?
Well,
Do you think anyone who used Robinhood knew that?
I didn't know that. I did not know that till today. I don't think anybody knew a lot of the things that were going on till today. But nobody was under the impression somebody could just press the stop button and say, guess what? We can crash this.
So, linking this together, are you saying the government has made it impossible for people to build their wealth, so they have to resort to platforms like Wall Street Bets?
I can't hear you.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
I lost my sound.
Uh-oh.
Hello?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Paul? I got